Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Model Fix. My name's Dan, and today we are modding. Okay, so as you've probably gathered by now, I've got the Toyota Corolla TS T Sport with a 2ZZ GE engine in it, and I've been living with this car now for a couple of weeks. I've been driving it around as my daily to replace the cube, and I've got to say, it's an amazing car. It's so well refined. The car's been lowered 30 millimeters, or probably more than that actually, probably about 70. And it drives so nice. It's so refined. No rattles, no creaks, no nothing. And it's got all the mod cons. And then of course you've got the lift, 1.8 litres, 6,200-ish revs. And you get a massive surge of power, which is quite addictive to be honest. I really like it. But anyway, getting on to today's video, we are going to be changing the stereo in this car. We've got a single DIN JVC unit. The stereo is quite decent. It's not stock, obviously. It's missing a knob. It's probably somewhere in the car. This stereo actually came with the car. Decent sound quality. It's got Bluetooth. It's got USB. It's got all of that stuff. And it works well, but I missed the double DIN unit I used to have in the Cube. It was a 7-inch screen and it had a lot of features on there. You could play Bluetooth music and change the tracks and stuff like that. You could have maps on it. I didn't have maps on that one. So I thought I'd up the ante on this one, and I bought another unit, which is a Chinese thing. 7-inch screen, Android 9.1, 2 gig of RAM and 32 gig of ROM. Let's see what that's like. It looks really impressive in the eBay ad, and I just want to put it on here. I think more importantly, what I actually want is screen mirroring, so I don't need to mount my phone anywhere. My phone's massive, got Samsung S20 Ultra, and it's just really heavy. And to mount it, currently I'm using this ugly old thing, so I want to ditch that, get a screen up here and screen mirror, and that'll be amazing. So let me show you how we're going to change it all out. It's obviously been changed before, so it's not stock radio, but I'm going from single DIN to double DIN. So let's crack on. Okay, first things first, take the ashtray out. You take it out, you pull it like that, and you push it down. Previous owner was a smoker, unfortunately, and that's why the seats look the way they are. Disgusting. I'll clean that out in a bit. But anyway, ashtray out, put that to the side without spilling ash everywhere, and then this gator cover, pull that out there, and then it sort of pulls forward from there. And then you have your connectors for your lighter, which you just pull off, which I've done, and you can just rotate that off to the side, and that's out of the way now. Now if your car has the knobs in the middle, then you need to take those 3 knobs out, and there'll be screws underneath which you need to remove. If you've got a digital display like this, you just grab it from here, just the plastic bit at the top, not everything. I tried to grab everything and it didn't work, so just grab the plastic bit at the top and pull it in each corner firmly like that. And there's 2 clips at the bottom, I'll show you in a minute. And then at the top, follow it all the way to the top, pull it from one side, and then pull it from the other side, and there are those clips. And then behind you've got these 3 plugs. I believe they can only go one way, so let me just pull those out, because I will need 2 hands for those. In fact, I'm not even going to bother pulling them out. I'm just going to rotate this and put it to the side. If you just rotate that out of the way and leave it there, I don't think we need to pull it out, to be honest. Okay, then down here, there and there should be 2 screws, which are missing on my car. Somebody didn't bother putting them back, obviously. And then there should be 2 other screws further down, but those 2 screws are missing. But as you can see down there and there, the stock factory unit, there would be 2 screws down there as well. I think we should be able to just pull this out now, so I'll give it a yank. See if I could do it one-handed. Yep, okay, so I've pulled that side out, and as you can see, similar clips again, and then that as well. So look, you can see the clips there. So now I'm gonna just disconnect all of this and show you in a bit more detail in a minute. Okay, so the only thing holding me back was the antenna, which I've pulled out now, and now you can see the long ISO connector which plugs into the back of this JVC unit. So I'm just going to undo that and then see how my new system is going to fit in there. Okay, rather worryingly, that old fascia just came out of here very easily. So it's just got these little tabs here at the top One's broken, as you can see there, which just fit in these little holes here, and the same at the bottom. So you just pop all those out, and the single DIN fascia comes out. And then if you want to take your stereo out, usual way, you just pull the cage out. So that's that, and I'm going to stick that out of the way because I'm no longer using that. And now I've got the double DIN fascia to stick in the hole, so that's the same. It's got those little tabs, so I'm going to stick that in and then see how and where the stereo is going to fit. All right, quick update. I've pulled out the middle section because it was in the way, kinda. It's only 3 plugs, they only go one way, so that's fine. I just wanted to point out that if you have an OEM stereo, you're going to have this plug, which you will have unplugged. That's just for your display and your clock and all that stuff that I think is displayed in the standard system. And then your universal ISO connectors plug into the original Toyota plugs, and then you'll have these 2 plugs to play with. Now, what I've forgotten to tell you is that I also want to install a reverse camera with the stereo, and I'll show you that in a minute. Another thing I wanted to say was this fascia, it's alright, but it's not the best. The bottom fits nicely. The top, as you can see, those tabs aren't the exact shape of the holes, and it's a bit sloppy, to be honest. There's a bit of movement in it, but I'll make it work. Bottom here, if you can see that, the tabs actually fit really nicely in the bottom holes, just not in the top ones. And then we've got a bit of a sag at the top as well, which I'm gonna have to remedy. That's what it looks like. I'll have a muck about with it and make it fit. With this fascia, I got some cables. So I got these Toyota to ISO cables, and I got these adapter plates and the fascia. So these adapter plates fit in this hole quite nice, and they bolt into the original bolt holes. So I'm just going to go and find some nice 10mm to put in there, and then try and bolt this stereo in place. I'll show the stereo in a minute, but this is all the wiring that came with it. So this is the speaker wiring, and then there's antenna and some other stuff in there as well. I'll read the instructions and tell you what the rest of the stuff is for. I don't know what key 1 and all that stuff is, but key 2. Okay, that's for lights. Dimming and brightening the screen. Antenna, which we're not using, but that's a remote live. This is your video in, so for the camera. 2 blue wires, I presume are lives, but I'm not sure. And then we've got a USB, another USB cable, and then all the pre-outs for audio if you've got an amp in the car. Don't think I'm going to be using these at the moment, maybe one day. Also, you get a GPS antenna with this, because it's actually got GPS built into it, so I might use that. Let's see. One thing that's quite gutting is that this needs to be wired up, because obviously you can see it's got cut ends, it hasn't actually got ISO connectors on it, so I better wire that up first and then do everything else. I've cut my ISO connector with the Toyota plugs on one side, and I'm just going to connect all the wires together. Looks like all the colors match, so that's good. There's a yellow for a yellow and a red for a red, etc, etc. And then there's all the speaker colors match as well, so I'm just going to connect all of those using my cheap connectors, which you all love, and then let's try it in the car. I'm getting there slowly now. I've done all of these. I've just got the illumination, the switch to feed, and antenna wire to do. But what I wanted to just quickly share with you was that if you're doing this on your own, then put the heat shrink solder connector on first on one side. Make sure your bare wire is in the middle, and then just shrink down the end of it. And that helps you to put the other end in with ease and without this moving about, and then you can heat the other end and it works a lot easier. Let me just finish up and then we'll see if the thing works. All right, that's all the wiring done apart from key 1 and key 2, and then I've also got one step further and I've wired in the feed for the camera. So the feed for the camera is normally the pink wire. That's the wiring done. I'm just going to go and plug in the head unit now and see that it works before I do anything else. I've got the stereo brackets on. What I'm going to do now is push it in its slot, make sure everything lines up, and then I'm going to run those wires down that way. I'm not going to put the reverse camera on today because it started getting dark, short days nowadays. I'll revisit that tomorrow morning. And the GPS antenna, I might just put that on. I've just undone this little damper on the bottom of the glove box there. It's just one little screw, Phillips head screw, and then what you do is you just pull the glove box up and it unclips from those and you're away. So now what I want to do is I want to pull the reverse camera wires around here and down into this section here for now, and then what I want to also try and do is get the GPS antenna up there where you can see the light. Actually, I want to see where that is. Okay, that looks like it's right in the corner where this pillar cover is, so I'm going to take that pillar cover off and post the plug down there. Alright guys, quick update. I was going to actually run the antenna down this pillar and behind the dash, but it's nigh on impossible. So what I did was I threaded it through here, this gap here, and then pulled it through there, over there, and then round there, round the back of the vent, and there it is. So that's going to go in the back of the stereo, and I want the antenna to sit up here somewhere, so I'm going to stick that to the windscreen. Okay, so that's the GPS antenna. Perfect, so that's done. Now I'm just going to run the reverse cam wiring through a similar route, but down here instead. Alright, so I've got the reverse cam wiring through here, and it's actually plugged into the stereo so it holds in place. And then I'm just going to post it down there, and then I've pulled, with this trim, you just pull it up from this end and it all just comes away. So I'm just going to thread that wire all the way back to about here, and I think that's where I'll leave it for today, and then I can put all of this mess back together again. Alright, update time. So the wires that have come from across there, what I've done is I've piggybacked off this loom here, and I've cable tied these two wires to the existing cable tie, and then I've followed that loom around the catchy bit, sorry about this, it's a bit upside down, and I've followed that down to this loom here and cable tied it to that, so those wires should now stay well out of the way and not foul anything. And that's the main objective. So now I'm just going to run this down the sill, and just like that, this side of the car is all buttoned up. Now I'm just going to put all that back together, get the stereo in place and button all that up. That shouldn't take long at all. Alright guys, I've just plugged in those two USB sockets. I'm just going to feed them down into the glove box because I don't know what I'm doing with them yet. And then I've got to connect the GPS antenna, the radio antenna, and then everything else is pretty much ready to go. And then I'm going to bolt it in. I found some spare bolts in my collection, so I'm going to bolt it in place. They are the coarse thread type. 4 new of those. These are 8mm heads, but same sort of thread, so they should work fine. Stick them in the hole now. Alright guys, this needs to go back in the hole now. As I mentioned earlier, there's 3 plugs and 3 plugs. They only go one way, so can't really get that wrong. Oh, and as I mentioned, 2 clips on the bottom and 2 on the top. Okay, and it's all back together. Looks good, doesn't it? Let me just put the ashtray back in. I went and washed that a minute ago, so that's all nice and clean now. Smells a bit fresher as well. Some of them stains I can't get rid of. So that can go back in the hole now. It goes down in there and then in, and that's it. I'm actually missing the flap for here, and I might get one of those, but the problem is that I've got a broken lug on this side. That side's alright, but this side isn't. So let me give you a little sneak peek of what this screen looks like on. I'm sure you're all dying to see. Let's do it. Oh, just to mention, this gap here, the trim is actually alright. It's straight and it's in line with the screen, but the Toyota trim actually has a little dome in it, so I don't know what to do about that yet. If you guys have any ideas, do share them. But let me just show you this screen now. Look at that, isn't it nice? I might do a bit more of a review on this unit later down the line. I'll use it for a little while and then I'll tell you how it goes. Next, reverse camera, so let's do that. Alright guys, it's a new day, and as you saw yesterday, I left the wiring here. So the aim is to get it down the back of the car there, through the boot, through this trim, and then we need to somehow get up into this pillar here. Right guys, not sure if I showed you the reverse camera, but this is it here, and this actually replaces one of the number plate lights, so that goes in the number plate light hole, and then the wires will hook up to the wiring that I'm going to send to it, and then we have a sort of a factory OEM looking camera. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Let me see if I can get it in the hole. I think all of this trim here is going to have to come off, and then we can run the wiring nice and easy. Well, I've pulled this off, so you just pull the rubber off here, pull that trim away there, and then pull the roof lining down a little bit. Be careful with that because you don't want it to start sagging forever. But yeah, the aim is to try and get that wiring through that grommet. Don't know if how we're gonna do that, to be honest, but yeah, let me get it up there somewhere first and then see. Right, so pulled this trim out, and as you can see, that's come loose now. And inside there's a JVC speaker, which is quite nice. But anyway, so I've pulled that away, and now I should be able to feed the wire through here, through that trim there, and to the back. So a little bit easier than I thought. I'm happy about that. Okay, that's that part buttoned up now. Just kind of laid the wire behind there in a nice strategic fashion. Laid it above the clips here so it stays at the top. And just made sure it's not fouling the seatbelt and all that stuff. And make sure it doesn't rattle. Now we just need to go into there and pull it through the other side. So I've already sort of positioned it where I want it. And once we've got it where we want it, we'll try and thread it through that grommet. All right, we've got the wire here now. This here needs to be threaded through that grommet, so I just pull the grommet out of here and out of here, and it looks like it might have enough space. It might be a bit tricky, but let's give it a go and see if we can get it through there and through there, and then I'll have to post it up here and try and receive it at the other end. All right guys, I'm gonna have to cut this. I'm gonna cut this wire and then solder it back up, because I'm not gonna be able to get the phono plug through that. It's too thin and this is too thick, so I'm gonna cut that, feed it through, rejoin it. What I also need to do is run a wire from the reverse light, which I believe is that one, and the ground. I need some wires run from there up as well, and then same route, because we do need a live for that from the reverse light, and then we need a live and an earth for that as well. That's the power to the camera. I'm going to run those wires first and then snip that, run it all together through the loom, through the rubber thing, and that's it. Alright guys, I've just popped the cap off of there, and there is the wiring to the tail light. So what I'm going to do now is check what gets a feed when the reverse light's on, and that will be my feed for the reverse cam. So I've just tested it with my handy tester, and it's actually the red wire. So the red wire is going to get tapped into. I'm going to use one of my spade taps and then run the wire up into the boot, but I need to also find an earth. I might just earth off one of those bolts there. That might be nice and easy, otherwise I'll look for something else. Let's see. Alright guys, time to thread some cables through. So what I've done is, you see this cable, that was the video cable. I've just snipped that. Hopefully I'll be able to reconnect it later. I've snipped that, and I've got these wires ready, which are going to be my live and my earth. And then what I've done is I've got like a 240 volt cable, which is quite stiff enough to push it through, and I've pushed that through the channel down here and out of here. What I actually did was I pushed it through this little cavity here, because I found it was easier to push it through there, and then I've pushed the other end through here. It's a bit of a pain to get it through that little bit now. But anyway, I'm going to pull the whole lot through in one go. Alright, that's taped to that. I've managed to push that through, but by gosh, I cut a massive gash out of my thumb in the process, because that there is really sharp. Pushed it through, caught it on there, massive cut, blood everywhere. But anyway, you must carry on. That's the main thing. That's taped up. I'm just going to pull this cable through now, and hopefully I'll get all of that up there. So I've got it all the way through, which is grand. It's here now, kinda. But slight issue, I forgot to put it through here, so I'm gonna have to pull it all back out again. Put it through there first, and then through the hole. Alright, quick tip. If you're going through a grommet like that, it's a right pain in the arse. But if you put a little bit of ferro-liquid on there, or anything lubricated, like WD-40 or whatever, it slides through lovely. And I lube it all up and try and pull it through. Alright, I don't know how well you can see that, but the wires are through. I took a little bit of messing about because they were getting snagged in here. Now what I'm going to do is unravel that, resolder the camera wire back, connect this baby on the end of the blue and red, because that's going to be the power source for the camera with the reverse light. So let's do that now. All right guys, the live and the earth have been fed through and they're all good. The camera wires have been reconnected. I just want to test them before I wrap everything up. Now I've just got to fit the camera. The camera actually needs to go in that hole there. So I need to take that number plate light out and then stick the camera in there, but this handle's in the way. So what I'm gonna have to do is loosen the bolts for the handle, pull it ajar a little bit, and then pull that out and put the camera in. Okay, so as you can see here, that's the back of the number plate light. I've just taken the connection off. The connection's just got one of those push down bits on it, like a Bosch connector. You just push that down and pull it off, and then I've just got to push that out. I'm going to slack off that bolt there, and as far as I can see, it's only that one and this one on the end here that hold the handle on. So if I could just slack that off and pull the handle out enough, then I should be alright. I might have to take that clip out as well. Alright, I've got everything temporarily connected up. I haven't got the camera fully installed. Doesn't want to fit in the hole actually. It's a little bit small, but I'll make it fit somehow or another. Looks quite neat in there. Anyway, so that's all connected up. Those are the connections I'm a bit worried about. And then I've plugged in the tap into the reverse, so that's done here. And then the earth, I've actually earthed to here at the moment, just to see if it all works. So now I'm just going to turn the key, put it in reverse, make sure I get an image, and if I do, happy days. Moment of truth guys, I'm just going to stick the key in the ignition now, stick it in reverse and see if it works. Hope it bloody does. Here we go, stereo's on, in reverse. Yes, we can see the sky, camera works, woo! Alright, now I've just got to wrap everything up and wire that earth in. Alright, so I did actually test that little lug there for an earth, and there's no earth there basically because there's no metal to metal contact. The place you can get an earth is here. I might actually put all the trim back now, or the majority of it anyway. I'll put all these side trims and back trim back on, and then I'm going to leave this main trim off for now because I want to secure the camera, and I need to do some wiring for that reverse light as well. This bit has been wired up, so what I did here was I needed some thin spades to go in there. I didn't have the thin spades, I only had the like sort of medium sized ones. What I did was I cut half of the spade clip away, just making sure it's still strong, and then that slots straight in, and it clips in quite nice actually. So I'm just going to put that in there, tape it up, and that's done. Now you'll notice that we've got a normal light in there, and we've got the camera with the LED light on that side. So what I want to do is I want to change that bulb over. But what a pain in the arse. Look at this, they've got some sort of swanky cover over the top of it, so you need to undo those 10 mils, both of them, remove that bracket, whatever that is, and then change the bulb. Okay, once you remove the bracket, not too bad. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist the whole thing out, pull it out, and then stick an LED bulb in there, and then stick it back in, put the bracket back on, 10 mils, job done. And that's that sorted with an LED bulb. Bit more matching now, not identical, but it'll do. It's better than it was. I do need to take that housing out at some point and clear out the insects. So cover back on now. I could put the cover back on here again. I'll wrap that up with some tape and shove it in there somewhere, and then that's done. That's all the trim back on. Now just got to deal with this earth, so I think I'm going to route that behind this carpet, under this trim here, and then to one of the bolts on here. Alright guys, to get this trim off here, you have to undo two 10 mils, that sort of clippy thing on them. Undo the 10 mil bolt, and then you just lift the trim from this side over, and it comes off. And what I've done is I've threaded that blue wire from there. I've left enough slacks in case I need to undo that for any reason, but I've threaded that through around the back of this carpet along here, and then I've just sandwiched it under here, and that works perfectly. I could have used a ringlet and all that sort of stuff, but that'll work. I've done it before and it works. It's not going to move, it's not going to go anywhere, so I'm happy with that. And with that guys, we are all done. And as you can see there, working perfectly. Alright guys, and with that we're all done. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's been about, bloody hell, it's been a few months now since I finished that job. As you can probably see, the sleeker seats are in, leather seats are in the back, and next what we're going to do is release the sort of steering wheel control video. I'll do that one next, I think. This video was actually supposed to be before all of them, but there's quite a bit of demand for the other videos first, i.e. the sleeker seats. So it's a bit of the wrong order at the moment, but I think you've probably figured that out anyway. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you took something away from it. If you have any questions, drop them down below and I'll try and answer them. Otherwise, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you later. Bye for now.